People keep telling you the same things. Work harder. Wake up earlier. Stay positive. Never stop pushing. You hear it everywhere. In videos. In quotes. In comments under someone else's success. And at first, it feels motivating. For a moment. But later, when the day ends, you still feel tired. Still behind. Still quietly disappointed in yourself. Not because you didn't try, but because somehow, trying never seems to be enough. So you start wondering. Not out loud, but inside. If motivation is supposed to help, why does it feel so heavy? Maybe motivation isn't broken. Maybe the kind we keep repeating was never honest to begin with. One, the popular lie. Hard work always pays off. It's one of the most popular motivational quotes in the world. Hard work always pays off. It sounds fair. Almost comforting. It suggests that life is simple. Put in effort. Get results. No confusion. No unfairness. No randomness. That's why people love this quote. It gives structure to chaos. It tells us that success is controllable. That failure has a clear explanation. If someone succeeds, they worked hard. If someone fails, they must not have worked hard enough. Clean. Logical. Easy to share. This quote spreads because it feels just. It makes the world feel predictable. And when you're tired, stressed, or unsure, predictability feels safe. That's why it ends up everywhere. On posters, on social media, in graduation speeches, in late-night motivational videos. People don't share it to hurt anyone. They share it because it gives hope. Because it suggests that no matter where you are right now, you can force your way forward through effort alone. On the surface, that feels empowering. It tells you, you're in control. Nothing is stopping you except effort. Keep going. And for a while you do. You push harder. You ignore rest. You silence doubt. But slowly, something starts to feel off. Not loud enough to explain. Not obvious enough to point at. Just a quiet discomfort. Because even while you're working hard, sometimes harder than ever, the payoff doesn't arrive. And when that happens, this quote doesn't comfort you anymore. It turns inward. If hard work always pays off, and you're still struggling, what does that say about you? To why it fails psychology. The problem with the quote, hard work always pays off, is not that effort doesn't matter. Effort does matter. The problem is that this quote quietly ignores reality. In real life, people do not start from the same place. Some people begin with support. Some begin with connections. Some begin with money, safety, or time. Others begin tired. Already behind. Already carrying responsibilities. Hard work doesn't land on a level field. It lands on uneven ground. And when motivation ignores that, it stops being helpful. There's also something psychologists call survivor bias. We mostly hear stories from people who made it, not from the thousands who worked just as hard and didn't get the same result. Those stories disappear quietly, not because they're lazy, but because failure doesn't get shared as easily. So when you hear, "I worked hard and succeeded," you don't hear about timing, or luck, or the doors that were already open. You only hear the part that sounds inspiring. Another issue is burnout. When you believe that hard work always pays off, you feel pressure to never stop. Rest starts to feel like weakness. Pausing feels dangerous. So you keep pushing. Even when your body is tired. Even when your mind is exhausted. Motivation turns into obligation. And instead of fueling progress, it drains you. There's also social comparison. You don't just work hard anymore. You work hard while watching others succeed faster. You scroll past achievements, milestones, highlight reels, and because the quote promises payoff, Every delay feels personal. If success hasn't arrived yet, you assume the problem is you, not the system, not circumstances, not randomness, just you. Over time, this creates pressure culture, a quiet environment where everyone is pushing, but no one is breathing, where struggle is romanticized, and rest is suspicious, where slowing down feels like falling behind. This is why the quote fails. Not loudly, but slowly. Not by discouraging effort, but by attaching your self-worth to outcomes you don't fully control. And when effort doesn't lead to results, the mind looks for someone to blame, and too often, it chooses the person who tried the hardest. For the quiet truth. Here is the part most motivation skips. Not everyone moves at the same speed, and that's not a flaw. It's reality. Some people grow quickly, some grow slowly, some grow quietly, without anyone noticing. Winning early is not proof of wisdom, and struggling longer is not proof of failure. Progress doesn't always look impressive. Sometimes it looks like showing up tired. Sometimes it looks like doing the bare minimum on hard days. Sometimes it looks like staying consistent when nothing is happening yet. That still counts. Ordinary effort matters. Even when it doesn't turn into a success story. Even when there's no applause. You don't need to squeeze meaning out of exhaustion to justify your worth. You don't need to turn struggle into a badge to deserve rest. Hard work can matter without guaranteeing results. And that doesn't make life unfair. It makes life human. Your value was never supposed to depend on how fast things worked out. It was never meant to depend on whether effort paid off immediately. Sometimes the most honest form of progress is simply not giving up on yourself. Not in a dramatic way. Not loudly. Just quietly choosing to keep going, without punishing yourself for being slow. This is the truth motivation rarely mentions, because it doesn't sound powerful. It doesn't fit on a poster. It doesn't go viral. But it brings relief. And relief is what tired minds actually need. The emotional relief. If you've been feeling tired lately, not just physically, but mentally, there's nothing wrong with you. If you've been working hard and still questioning your progress, that doesn't mean you failed. It means the advice you were given was incomplete. Motivation often tells us that effort should always lead to reward. But life doesn't work in straight lines. Some seasons are about growth. Some are about survival. Some are about learning how to slow down without losing yourself. You were never meant to measure your worth by how quickly things worked out. You were never meant to feel guilty for resting. And you were never broken for believing something that sounded hopeful. You didn't lack discipline. You didn't lack drive. You were just listening to advice that forgot to include reality. So if things feel heavy right now, let them be heavy for a moment. You don't need to force meaning out of struggle. You don't need to turn pain into proof. You're allowed to move at your own pace. You're not late. You're not weak. You're not behind. You were just taught a version of motivation that left out the human part.